Good evening and welcome. I am Amarachi Ubani. Tonight, siege on Senator Dino Melaye's house continues as police grant journalists access into the compound of the Kogi West senator. People's Democratic Party asked Interpol to probe alleged diversion of military funds by the ruling party, but the APC says Atiku Abubakar should withdraw from the race over what it describes as unsubstantiated claims. The presidential candidate of the African Democratic Party, Yabagi Sani, promises to put the country on the path of economic growth if elected. And U.S. President Donald Trump shrugs off personal attack on his presidency by senior fellow Republican Mitt Romney.
On business news tonight, China's National Offshore Oil Corporation and French oil giant Total commence oil production from Nigeria's deep-water Egina field.
And on sports news, FIFA President Gianni Infantino says the World Football Governing Body might not wait till 2026 to increase the number of participating teams from 32 to 48.
And from Abuja, police arrest father of 3 in Bayelsa for allegedly killing 2 of his children with poisonous substance.
We begin tonight from the nation's capital, Abuja, where the police authorities allowed some lawmakers and journalists access to the residence of Senator Dino Melaye on day 6 of the siege on his home. Additional personnel have also been deployed to the house of the senator, who is accused of criminal conspiracy and attempted culpable homicide in the shooting of a police sergeant, Danjuma Saliu, who was on stop-and-search duty on July 19, 2018 in Kogi State. The policemen have vowed to remain at the house until the senator comes out of the building.
Sanga Street off Mississippi Street, Maitama, Abuja, a once uneventful location, has become one of the most popular in the country. The siege on house number 11, the residence of the senator representing Kogi West Senatorial District, Senator Dino Melaye, has been on now for 6 days, with both sides refusing to back down. According to the police spokesperson, Dino Melaye is wanted for criminal conspiracy and attempted culpable homicide, and they are accusing the senator and his alleged armed thugs of shooting a Sergeant Danjuma Saliu, who was on a stop-and-search duty on the 19th of July 2018 along the Ayetoro Gbede Mokpa Road in Kogi State. A jammer has been installed in front of the residence to restrict communication from the senator, who the police believe is inside. Water and power supply have been cut off as well. While rumors had swirled around of an alleged break into the premises by the police force, this was not the case, as Senator Biodun Olujimi and members of the press were granted access to the residence for the first time since the siege began to prove that none of the senator's properties had been tampered with, and the door with Christmas decorations on it is still intact.
Why do the heathens range and the people imagine vain things? The rulers of Nigeria have set themselves against the Lord and his anointed. But you know what? The Lord shall laugh at them in his sour displeasure. They depend on chariots, horses, power, authority, position, and guns. But I come unto them in the name of Jehovah, the Lord God of hosts. I trust him. It is well. It is well.
While the senator, quoting the Bible on his Twitter handle, explains the difference between being scared and being wise in hiding, the police are committing to standing their ground within the ambits of the law until the senator is arrested and investigated.
To politics. Now, the People's Democratic Party is raising alarm over an alleged diversion of military funds by members of President Buhari's family for the acquisition of a bank and a telecommunications outfit. Addressing a news conference in Abuja, the Director of Media and Publicity of the PDP, Presidential Campaign Organization, calls for thorough and independent investigation of the allegation. The party is also asking President Buhari to respond to the allegations instead of allowing his aides to respond on his behalf.
No PDP governor is going to work. The People's Democratic Party Presidential Campaign Organization calls for an urgent investigation into the alleged link between the reportedly diverted military funds and the 1.032 trillion naira said to have been used by President Muhammadu Buhari's family members for corrupt acquisition in a Tisalat now known as Nine Mobile and Keystone Bank. The PPCO calls for an independent and system-wide investigation by the Interpol, the Directorate of State Services, as well as the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, on the alleged links between the two funds. This concerted investigation has become imperative following President Buhari's failure to directly speak out on the allegations against his family members, as well as his refusal to explain how they came about the sum of 1.032 trillion for the alleged acquisition.
Meanwhile, the spokesperson of the Buhari campaign organization, Mr. Festus Keyamo, has responded to the allegations by the PDP. Mr. Keyamo said in a statement that President Muhammadu Buhari and his family members do not have anything to do with Etisalat and Keystone Bank. Mr. Keyamo says the PDP does not have any morals or direction in their attempt to smear everyone in sight, especially at a time the PDP campaign vote is believed to be sinking. Mr. Keyamo also wants Nigerians to be wary of fake news ahead of the elections. He says, and I'm quoting here, "We call on Alhaji Atiku Abubakar and the PDP to apologize to Nigerians, and especially the family of the president, for adopting this unwholesome tactics and telling tales by moonlight that have clearly backfired. The public space is now full of jokes about President Buhari buying the whole of Dubai, Abu Dhabi, the National Stadium, and even the presidential villa." The statement also adds that Alhaji Atiku Abubakar should throw in the towel and endorse the candidacy of President Buhari. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, says it is ready to conduct the 2019 general elections as it has received all the money required to run the elections, which commence next month. The chairman, publicity and voter education of the electoral body, Mr. Festus Okoye, made the statements while speaking as a panelist on Channel's television studio-based program, The Core. He explains that there is an improvement in the technology of the smart card reader, which will enable it to perform better than it did in 2015.
We have a regular budget, which we had not finished spending. So we drew from the regular budget to carry out some of our activities. As of today, all the funds that have been appropriated for the 2019 elections has been released to the Independent National Electoral Commission. Ballot papers and the result sheets that INEC prints conforms to currency standard. And these ballot papers and the result sheets are printed and deposited with the central bank. Nigeria and the Independent National Electoral Commission operates a duality when it comes to the issue of accreditation. The base of the electoral process is the voters' register. Each presiding officer goes to the polling unit with the voters' register. When you come with your permanent voters' card, the first thing the presiding officer and the other electoral officers on ground, the first thing they need to do is, one, to verify whether you are even in the correct polling unit. Because there's a VIN number attached to each permanent voters card. Since the 2015 elections, the Independent National Electoral Commission has been improving on the quality of the smart card reader. And the quality of the smart card reader was tested in Ekiti, was tested during the Osun elections. And we have a smart card reader that performs better, that can capture, can authenticate the fingerprints much faster than we had in 2015.
The presidential candidate of the African Democratic Party, Yabagi Sani, says he is ready to provide the much-needed political leadership that will set the country on the path of growth and progress. He was speaking in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, after a closed-door meeting with the former president, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo. The ADP candidate took a swipe at the current administration on the handling of the economy and security.
Nigerians are living in fear. Nigerians can no longer travel from one point to the other without the fear of being kidnapped or being killed outrightly. The economy of this country is at the lowest ebb that you can ever think of. I mean, this is a country whose GDP was about $570 billion just about 2-3 years ago, growing at a rate of almost 5% or more. And today, the economy to go down to 1.5% growth rate, with all the potentials of this country, believe you me, it's not our lot. God did not plan or mean or want us to suffer hunger, deprivation, killing, the lack of capacity in the governance, lack of direction. I mean, a president cannot keep his own house in order. I mean, it's a shame. We are a laughingstock in the eyes of the international community. This is not the promise of this country. This is not what we have.
More politics now. The governorship candidate of the All Progressive Grand Alliance has pledged to drive economic and infrastructure transformation in Abia State over the next 4 years if he is elected. Dr. Alex Oti made the vow while addressing a gathering at the Civic Center in Umuawa Alochi in Umuahia North Local Government Area of Abia State. The APCA flag bearer, who lamented the poor state of infrastructure in Umuahia and entire state, blamed the situation on what he described as incompetence in government. Mr. Oti also promised that his administration would put in place the enabling environment to attract foreign investors into Abia.
We don't want them anymore. We are taking back our state. We are transforming our state. We are starting afresh because they have done nothing. Umuahia is like a glorified village. I am ashamed coming into Umuahia as my state capital. One promise I gave you, give me 4 years and you will be amazed at what I will do.
Away from politics, the increase of drug abuse in Nigeria has become worrisome for the federal government, and the authorities are determined to tackle it in the best possible way. The chairman of the Committee Against Drug Abuse, retired General Buba Marwa, says over the next 4 months, the committee will come up with new strategies that will eliminate the problem. He was speaking on our breakfast program, Sunrise Daily.
From the last service in 2017, the world's drug use average is 5%. In Nigeria, it's 15%. So we're already 10% above the global average. There are over 30 million Nigerians that are using drugs. We have to now come up with strategies that will look at the country as a whole, not face only the drug abusers, because the drug abusers are part of the whole. If you face only the drug abusers, it's like putting water into a basket, because as they get out healed, others will be coming in. So we have to, first of all, see that we block new entries. And then, of course, we deal with those who have just started to use drugs and are not yet addicts, and, of course, the addicts. So it will have to be a comprehensive package, and we have to look at the two sides. Meaning, you cannot use drugs without the drugs. That means we have to face the supply side. Already there are institutions that are addressing that. The NAFDAC on the illicit drug side, NDLEA on the illicit drug side, the Ministry of Health doing both, because they also deal with narcotics like morphine and so on for medicinal purposes. Then the enforcement agencies. So there are institutions already in place as far as the supply side is concerned. It's up to the committee to examine their roles and responsibilities, determine why is it that with all these institutions still the drug abuse is even more prevalent.
In part two, after the break, we continue our review of the year 2018 with a focus on foreign affairs, and we'll be joined by retired diplomat Ambassador Gani Lawal. Please stay with us.